How many of you are starving in a calorie deficit? How many of you eat some food and then 2 seconds later you're raiding the kitchen? You completely black out and you wake up in a pool of Oreos and Cheetos and Ben & Jerry's ice cream. If that sounds like you, I'm going to share the 10 pro tips to reduce your hunger during your fat loss. So get a physique that you are proud to show off and that you are proud to walk around in. Number one is incredibly underrated, but it is incredibly simple. That's just to keep yourself busy. Whenever you're hungry, try and find an activity to do. Try and find something to take your mind off of the hunger, because a lot of times I found that I gained the majority of my weight when I was eating out of boredom. I was eating because I didn't really have much to do. At this point, I wasn't doing the YouTube. I wasn't busy. I wasn't drowning in work. My mind was just occupied on one thing, and that was video games, food. Video games, food. Every time that you feel that hunger strike, you go and you find something to do. If that means you go on a walk, you listen to some music, you listen to a podcast, you watch some TV, you get some work done. Do something to distract yourself from the hunger. 5 minutes into that walk, you'll drop the hunger like that. If you want more anti-hunger strategies, you know you can find them. You can come join our school. Dedicated module on that. I can take you through each process step by step by step. So if you're interested in that, hit the link in the pinned comment. Next up is my favorite strategy. Incredibly simple and very, very effective, and that is volume eating. What is volume eating? Basically eating the most amount of food for the least amount of calories. Here's a mindset shift that I teach inside of the school that I think is going to be very, very valuable to you, okay? Think about your calories like your money. Every single meal that you eat, think to yourself, am I getting my bang for my buck here, okay? Am I eating the most amount of food for the least amount of calories? For now, treat your calories like money and you'll not go far wrong. And here's a pro tip for you. Implement the strategic use of water. Now, every single time that you feel hungry, you're going to chug water, okay? 1 to 2 glasses is ideal. Ideally 2. When you're eating, you have 1 during your meal, and after that, you have 2 afterwards. The word hunger will not be a part of your vocabulary. Your brain will not even be able to fetch that word because of how full you're going to feel. So you might be wondering, what happens when water no longer cuts it? Okay, I've been using or implementing the strategic use of water and it just ain't happening. It's very, very simple. All you have to do is swap or supplement the water for something like a diet drink, a Diet Coke maybe, Diet Dr. Pepper, a sugar-free drink, a tea, a coffee. Just make sure that you use an artificial sweetener, something like stevia, Splenda. When that hunger hits, make sure that you have some kind of fluid available to you. Now, sometimes the strategic use of water isn't going to be able to cut it, and you're going to need something a little bit more intense to get you over those hunger cravings at night or during the day or whenever you face them. That is when we move on to something that is just a little bit more extreme, and that is actually changing your eating windows or your eating routine. I always got extremely hungry in the nighttime. That was the time where I was probably my most likely to binge, okay, and completely go off plan. I realized this and I noticed it as a trend. So what I did was I completely changed my routine. Now I wake up at 4 and I'm in bed by around 7:30. And this helped me because I've already finished eating for the day. I've already brushed my teeth. I've closed the zipper on my mouth. I no longer have any desire to eat because I manipulated my routine. I realized that I had a problem late at night, so I went in and I changed it. Now once you've done that, your next stage is going to be identifying and removing all of the trigger foods out of the house. Here's the thing, I don't know about you, but sometimes just the sight of food and the sight of junk is enough to just completely flip that switch and the floodgates open and I start eating everything in sight, left, right, and center. If what I've described, okay, is very similar to your current situation or how you operate and how you act around food, I highly encourage you, do this right now. Do not watch another fat loss video. You don't need it after this. Grab a piece of paper, go into your kitchen, take me into your kitchen with you, right? Open up your cupboards in your fridge and write down every single trigger food that you have, whether it'll be a Pringle or any kind of junk food, anything that is going to set you off, write it down. And here are your 2 options. So number 1, either throw them away, give them to a friend, okay? Give them just off the food to somebody. Strategy number 3, if for whatever reason, like nobody wants to take your food. Maybe you're a skank and you're untidy and people just don't want your shit. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what you got going on. But just hide the food or ask somebody in your house to hide the food for you. Put it in a place where you're not going to find it. Out of sight, out of mind. This is going to be one of the most powerful strategies that you can employ during your fat loss, because if you don't see it, you're not going to think about it. Do what you need to do. Set up your environment for success, and setting yourself up for success in baby steps, in manageable steps, is exactly what I help you do in the school, okay? I take your hand, I grab you, I sling you over my shoulder, and I walk you through the path, okay, of weight loss and fat loss. If you want a step-by-step guide, a step-by-step blueprint, link is going to be in the pinned comment, okay? If you're serious, you've got more than 20 pounds to lose, it's going to be perfect for you, and we would love to have you. Now, moving on to our next hunger strategy. When you face intense hunger, okay, and use this one with caution, intense hunger, drink coffee. Caffeine is phenomenal. Caffeine is a natural appetite suppressant. And I don't know how many of you know this, but in fat burners that you get in drugstores and stuff like that, that if you look at the back of the thing, the number 1 ingredient is most likely going to be caffeine, okay? Because it helps to stop eating. Now, I say be very cautious and be very careful with this one, because if you abuse it, if you abuse anything, it's going to be bad. If you drink too much of this, especially too late in the day, you can start seeing some adverse effects. Now, if it starts affecting your sleep, that is going to have adverse effects on your fat loss. Bad night's sleep due to that caffeine, we're going to see an increase in the hunger hormone ghrelin, and that's just going to you're going to shit the bed the next day pretty much. Not literally. I don't know, you might if you have a caffeine intolerance or sensitivity, but your hunger hormone's going to be out of whack and you're likely going to overconsume the next day. Now, speaking of bed, this one was pretty obvious, to be honest with you. If you know my channel, you would have seen this one coming from a mile away, and that's just getting to bed on a good time. Like I mentioned in the previous tip, making sure that we are getting good sleep, okay, is going to be one of the main drivers. I would say probably one of the top 5 things that's going to determine how successful our fat loss phase is going to be. If you don't have this, then you're going to run into some serious problems, okay? You're going to be very groggy, very frustrated. You're going to feel awful when you work out, so please just get a good night's sleep. Now, I'm saying it's a hard and fast rule that we get 8 hours of sleep. Sleep is one of the primary drivers of fat loss. If you neglect it, you are neglecting results and you are leaving results on the table. The best hunger control tip that I can give you is very, very simple. And I would argue it's a lot simpler than everything else that I've just mentioned in the video. Now, that tip is going to be acceptance. Remember, you're in a calorie deficit, you're in an energy deficit, you're eating less than you usually would. Of course, you're going to be hungry. Now, this is more of a mental thing than a physical. But accepting that you're just going to get hungry during your calorie deficit, it's like breaking a wall down. This is the wall of hunger, okay? And every time you get pissy, you get stressed out and you start bitching and whining about that you're hungry, you just keep banging your head against this wall. And it keeps creating unnecessary friction and unnecessary fight that you have to fight every single day in a calorie deficit. You don't need that fight. So as soon as you accept it, the wall of hunger, it goes down. I'm not saying it gets rid of hunger completely or like that, but it makes the process a whole lot easier because you just ride the wave. So the sooner that you accept it, the sooner your fat loss is going to be a whole lot easier. I can guarantee you that. If you are a person who is struggling with this, who is struggling on their fat loss journey, you have big ambitions, you have great ambitions for the body that you want, but for whatever reason, there's something that's stopping you from getting to that body that you desire and that you deserve, come and join our school community, okay? If you join now, you get 27% off, you get 3 free bonus modules, and also there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it for whatever reason, I will just send you your money back. I hope all of that was very informative. I hope it was very, very helpful, and I hope to see you inside of our school.